So today I'm going to show you how to make this tool more powerful to cite in your papers and create bibliographies. To get to RefWorks, there's a URL. And this is it. It's library.yu.edu/RefWorks. And we also have a guide. Oh, I'm sorry. The guide is this URL. And the RefWorks tool is refworks.progress.com. Now, you could also get to this from the homepage of the library simply by clicking on Research Help and Citation Help. And that will bring you to RefWorks. So you have the guide, which actually is going to explain a lot of it's going to review a lot of the things that I'm going over today and more. And it has the link to RefWorks, the tool itself. And this is what the tool looks like. So what does RefWorks do? There's a whole bunch of things. You can bring in references and full text, which is really nice. So if you want to look back and look at the actual papers that you found, you could keep that stored in RefWorks. You could also format bibliographies in a given style, be it MLA, APA, Chicago, whatever it is you're using. You can bring the citations into your paper as you're writing them. And I'm going to show you all these steps, all these ideas later. And lastly, you can share your work. When you're collaborating with others on a project, you can share your research. So how do we do this? Well, first of all, you have to create a RefWorks account. So obviously, if you've already used RefWorks, you have an account. If you don't have an account, it's a very simple procedure. I'm going to actually walk you through it at the end. I'm going to have on the screen how to go about doing it. And then if you have questions as you're doing it, you'll feel free to ask. And by the way, any questions you have about what I'm saying during the session, I'm going to entertain questions at the end, and we'll figure out how we're going to deal with this large crowd. But there'll definitely be time to ask questions. So after you create a RefWorks account, you also want to bring in your references. So import is just a fancy way of saying adding references, because without your sources, you can't create citations. You have to bring in all the records of your sources that you found. And then you're going to put your references into folders, and this way you'll be more organized. So when we talk about a reference in RefWorks, obviously a reference in a paper refers to a bibliography, or a citation refers to a footnote or an entire citation. But a reference in RefWorks is the source, whatever source you brought in. And it has the bibliographic information. And sometimes it has an abstract, which is nice. This way you can look back and just have a brief summary of the article. And it also often has tags, which are subject headings that help you find your stuff later on. You also can add your own subject headings, your own tags. Okay, so how do we bring in these references? There are a whole bunch of ways. The first way I recommend the most, where you bring in the full text and the reference, meaning that you have a PDF of the article and the reference itself, and it's just brought in one place into RefWorks. And it's really nice because, first of all, this way you don't have to go back to your original source, whatever database or website you found it on. You could just have the PDF right at your fingertips. And secondly, and I don't know about you guys, but I always have a bunch of downloads on my computer. It clogs it all up. And it's just really annoying. So this way, if you bring in your documents to RefWorks, you can delete all those downloads, and then you don't have like, what is this? What are all these downloads on my desktop? You can get rid of them. Another way, if you don't want to bring in the PDF, because it's a little bit of a it's an extra step. I think it's well worth it. But if you don't want to, you just want the reference, you could do that as well. If you're in a database or in Google Scholar, you could just import the reference from that database or Google Scholar into RefWorks. And the third way is if you're on a website and you want that website in RefWorks as well, there's a tool that captures the information and brings it in. It's really cool. I mean, you'll see this live, as I show you. The last way, entering reference manually, hopefully you'll never have to deal with that because it's really a pain. You have to be very skilled in putting all the information. That's only a last resort if there's no other way to get that reference in. Okay, so let's go to RefWorks and let's start bringing in our references. So remember, the first way is to bring the PDF. Now, what you're going to do is drag and drop that PDF into RefWorks. So normally when you download a PDF, it kind of pops up on the bottom left of the screen, right? And you can just drag it in. Well, I've already downloaded my PDF, so it's not there, but it's usually right there and you just bring it in. So what I'm going to do is find my PDF. Okay, and drag it in. See, it says drop files here, just follow the prompts. And you'll notice that it's generating the document. It's really cool. It's really, when I first discovered this, I'm like, this is amazing. Because I want to see my full text. Look at that. It has it just, all it did was pull out the metadata from the PDF and created a reference out of it. So if I click on it, there's your PDF right in a nice, neat place. It's very handy. All right, so that's how you drag and drop. Now, let's say we want to do it another way. We want to bring in just the reference. So get out of this. I have to move you guys up here. All right, and I'm going to go to the library homepage. Let's see, how do I minimize this? There we go. Okay. I'm going to search uFind on the library homepage. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you noticed, my research topic is, can you treat warts with duct tape? So I'm trying to find articles on duct tape and warts. Second, sorry, my fingers are not working today. Okay. Okay, so I found an article that I like, and I click on it. And now I want to get it into RefWorks. So I look for the icon that says export. And by the way, it depends on what database you're in. We happen to be in EBSCO, but all the databases have a similar pattern where you look for either an export icon, or if there is none, then you click on Cite. And whatever it is, you click on it and it will lead you to the next step. So the next step here is direct export to RefWorks, and I'm going to save it. And look what happens. It will ask me if I want to do that. I'll say yes. And then I'm going to say import. And now it's going to bring in my second reference. Okay, just to review, because I probably went a little bit fast. I clicked on the article, I clicked on export, or whatever it is in that database, it could be site export, and then I followed the prompts, and until it got into RefWorks. Okay, so then we also talked about a web page. So I have this web page that I like to bring in. How do I do that? You have to first download an add-in to your browser. So you're in RefWorks. and you click on Tools, and then you click on Tools again. And then you see it's showing you that you're going to bring in this bookmarklet called Save to RefWorks. So you have to first install it. It sounds really fancy. It's not, it takes 2 seconds. You install it, and then it tells you what to do. You drag it to your web browser. And there it is. Okay. So now we can bring that website in. All we do is get into the website, click on Save to RefWorks, and look at that. It has all the information about the website, all the bibliographic information. And when I click Save to RefWorks over here, and I click Import, it brings it in. Okay, so notice my 3 articles are now in this folder, last imported. Last imported just means whatever you last brought in. Okay, so remember before I talked about folders. Folders are very important because, if you notice, I have a lot of references in RefWorks. If I click on all references, I have 58, which is not even a lot. I mean, if you're doing tons of papers, you're going to have hundreds of references. So I want to create a folder to keep these things organized. So I click on My Folders, add a folder, and I'm going to call this duct tape 3, only because I have actually, I think I'm up to 3. I've been rehearsing this, so how to create another one. Okay, so I created my folder. Now I want to put those references in. So I'm going to click on Last Imported. Remember, those are the last ones we brought in. Select All, and then assign it to the folder, and duct tape 3. Make sure I did it. Yeah, it did it right. There it is. Okay. So we talked about importing references, creating folders, assigning your stuff to folders. And by the way, you don't only have to do last imported. You can, if you have other references floating around in other places, you can move them from one folder to another. Okay, what else can we do on this page? This is the dashboard. What else can we do on the dashboard? You can share your work, share your folder. You could export references and share them that way as well, or just keep a handy list somewhere else. Usually you're probably just going to want to share your folder. You can add tags, as I spoke about before. You can search, because let's say there's some article about nitrogen, so search it and find it that way. You can also get rid of duplicates, because as you do research, you lose track of which articles you found. They all start sounding the same after a while. So you can click on Tools, find duplicates, and I would do close match, because they may not be exactly the same, and then find duplicates. And I didn't find any because, hold on. There's a reason why I didn't find any. Because I didn't click on all references. Okay, that's very important. You have to click whatever folder you're looking at and find duplicates. And there you go. And then you could simply delete the duplicates that you don't want. Just do delete. Okay, so now here's another thing you might want to do. There's different ways of looking at your references. The first way is the normal view, which go back to our folder, duct tape 3, and that's just a simple brief view. But what I like about the normal view is that when you click on it, it gives you on the sidebar a very clear, I like the font. It's just a very clear, brief information, a little bit more detail than this, but it's not taking up the whole page. It's right there for you to see, the bibliographic information and the abstract if there is one. And as I showed you before, if you want to look at the PDF, that's one way to do it. You just click on normal, you just click on the site, and then you get your PDF. Okay. There's also other ways of viewing your references. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'm just going to point out the table view. It's a very quick way to see what you have. So that might not, you don't have to use all these options. It's just another thing that you might want to have in your arsenal. Okay, this is the part that I think you are going to be very interested in. You want to create a quick bibliography. Okay, so you click on that, create bibliography, and you have to choose your citation style. So now I'm assuming that most of you use APA. But just so you'll realize, and I just discovered this in learning about RefWorks myself, APA 7, that's the latest APA version, it actually has several sub-versions of itself. So for example, if I were to type APA 7, notice that there's a whole bunch of APA 7. So you have to just find out from your program, somebody in your program, which specific APA style you're supposed to use. I chose this one because it happens to be that at least one of your programs uses this sub version of APA 7. And by the way, this doesn't just apply to APA. It could be MLA, Chicago. You can have the latest MLA 8th, Chicago, I think it's 17th. Whatever it is, there's sub versions of those latest styles. So you just have to find out which one to use. And so I chose this one, and it automatically generated my bibliography, and I could simply copy this and paste it into my document. It's really neat. Okay, now at the risk of, it didn't work a few minutes ago. Let me just try this now. Sometimes RefWorks acts up. I'm going to also show you how to do a quick cite. So you just want to grab an in-text citation, right? Okay, and it already defaulted to my last style. I click continue. Insert citations. And let's say I want this one, right? So I'm going to click copy citation. And that was not a good one. Let's do this one. There we go. It copied it, and that's actually how it's supposed to be formatted, with the author, comma, and the date. So all I have to do is copy this and paste it into my document. Okay, so that's if you want to do a quick bibliography or a quick cite. But what I think you really want to know is how to do these things, how to cite within your document as you're writing your document. And you can do this in Word and Google Docs. Both of them have a mini version of RefWorks that you can install or add in to it. Whether you're Word or Google Docs, you can install a mini version. And as you're typing your paper, you could add citations. So I'm going to show you, after I demo the Word version of this, I'm going to show you how to add the Word version and how to add the Google Docs. But first, let me just demo how this all works. Okay, so I'm going to go into this is my research paper all about duct tape therapy. And I've already installed, it's called RefWorks Citation Manager. That's the Word version that's a Word mini version of RefWorks. And it's called RCM for short. Now I want to use RCM. So how do I do that? I'm in my paper and I click RCM and I click the icon And lo and behold, there it comes right on the side. And I'm going to get ready to put citations into my paper. But before I do that, I need to select my folder. So I click the arrow. And in this case, I'm going to be using this folder. The second thing I need to do, as always, is to change the citation style if it's not already the correct one. So this is called a hamburger menu. I'm going to click on my hamburger menu or my main menu, and I'm going to click on citation style, and I'm going to find whatever citation style it is. So if it's MLA, I'm going to choose that one. Let's say this one is the one I want, and I'm going to click update, and that's going to bring it in. But right now I'm not using MLA. I'm using the one that I want is already there, and in fact I saved it as a favorite. And here it is. I click on my favorites and APSM. So you can do that as well. If you choose a style, you can save it as a favorite. Okay, and then they give you a little bit of a preview of what your stuff is going to look like. Okay, so now I want to bring in the citations. So there are 3 types of citations that I'm going to show you on this paper. The first one is straightforward. It looks like this. It's an in-text citation. The second one is for when there's a direct quote, you need to include a page number. I'm going to show you how to include a page number. The third type is when you have something called a narrative in-text citation, meaning that the author's name is already in the sentence. So we don't want to have the author's name like it is here. We have to drop the author's name. So let's see how we do all these types of citations. So you have to position your cursor in the right place. Click on the hamburger menu and go to the references homepage. I've already had my folder selected. And now I'm going to put a citation right there where the cursor is. So I hover over the one that I want and I click cite this. And lo and behold, actually, I made a mistake. I didn't put it before the period. So I'm going to delete this. I thought I did, but I guess I didn't. Click it before the period, and then click cite this. And there it is. And if there's anything you have to change, you can do that. Okay, so that's my first citation. The second one, as I said before, I want to add a page number because it's a direct quote. So I have to just move my punctuation around a little bit. And this you would learn as you, if you go to the citation guide that I referred to before. Let me just quickly get to it again. If you go to Research Help, Citation Help, there's style guides. So in order to know about formatting, periods, commas, whatever, even though RefWorks does things automated, you still need to know something about your style guide, your style. So you might want to take a look. So I happen to know that I'm supposed to move that period over and take it, put it here. Okay, now I'm going to position my cursor. And let me get my next citation, which is this one. And instead of clicking cite this, I'm going to click edit this. And remember, I want to put a page number. So it has to go at the end, the suffix. So I'm going to do comma and whatever page number it is. And it's really nice because it shows you a preview of what it's going to look like before you hit insert. Then you hit insert citation. And there it is. It's very nice. See the difference. This one has the author and the date. This one has the the author, the date, and the page number. Finally, the other kind of citation I want to show you is when you have the author's name already in the sentence. So you're now only going to put in the date. You want to insert the date, not the author's name. So let's go to any of these. Yeah, I like this one. Duct tape for warts in children. And click edit this. And in this case, you're going to uncheck author, and it shows you a preview, and then insert citation. And there it is. It even puts the space. It's smart enough to put the space. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, well, that's really nice, Shulamis. You put in all these citations, but what about a bibliography? I thought you said that RefWorks does bibliographies too. So yes, it does. And the way you put a bibliography is you go to hit enter, go to the next line, and you have to turn the bibliography on. You do that by clicking on this menu, and you toggle it on. And look at that. Here are my references. So then you're going to say, well, yeah, but it's on the wrong page. It should not be on the same page as my document. It should have its own page. So that's one of the quirks of RefWorks, that it just puts it wherever you are. So you can click insert and then page break. And now we'll go on the next page. By the way, you could also just do that in advance. You could do page break and then put in your bibliography, but it doesn't matter what order you do it in. Okay, so now as you add citations, this is going to generate this bibliography. Whatever citation you put in, the corresponding bibliography entry is going to appear. So I just want to give you a caveat, a caution, and this is very important. You will find mistakes in RefWorks. It's a computer. It's a software program, and it's not perfect. So you have to be vigilant in, first of all, knowing your citation style, and also there's just typos, or spelling errors, or misplaced commas, or not so much spelling errors, but just mistakes in the entry. So you can correct the mistakes. Either the mistakes will be here, hopefully not, but sometimes, or the mistakes are in the bibliography. So what you want to do is correct them, but don't do this until the very end, meaning until you have inserted your last citation, or if you're doing Chicago, until you've entered your last footnote, don't make any corrections, because what will happen is it will look like it edited it, but then once you add another citation, if I were to add another one now, after I've edited it, it's going to strip out all your edits. So this is really, really important. There are going to be typos, there are going to be mistakes, or maybe whatever it is that you want to change. You can edit it here, but do it only after you've added your last citation to your paper. It's a little cumbersome, but that's just the way RefWorks works. Okay, before I go further and show you how to add in this RefWorks Citation Manager into Word, or how to add the RefWorks, the similar version, to Google Docs, does anybody have any questions? You can, Jay, if you can see if there are any questions.
Yes, there's a question that just came in on chat. Can you
Okay.
change the reference in RefWorks online so you don't have typos or errors later?
When you say online, you mean maybe unmute yourself so you could.
Yeah, sure. My question is, can you change, let's say you know already that there's an error in the reference, you're looking at it on RefWorks. Can you edit it there even before you put it into Word so that in the future it's correct?
Oh, yes, you can. That's a very good question. Okay, so let me just show you an example of that. Okay. So you see it says edit. So you can type wherever it is and change the information. Like if this is wrong for whatever reason, or the title or whatever it is. And then you can even add more fields if you have to. And then once you're done editing it, then you click save. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Unfortunately, even if you do that, there are certain errors that crop up, regardless of what you see here. This could be totally correct, but RefWorks is a little quirky, and sometimes there are commas in the wrong place, or there's capitalization instead of lowercase, or whatever. And even though everything is correct here, the formatting in the end in the Word document is incorrect. So you have to kind of fix that. Sorry to be bearer of bad news, but at least you could do something over here. That is true.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? I see Arena, did you have a question? Rebecca? Rebecca, do you want to unmute yourself? Still there? Okay, what about Arena? Oh, you don't have a question. Oh, it looked like you raised your hand. Okay, but Arena, did you have anything? Oh, I see. You just put a hands up, not a raised hand. Okay, I gotta interpret all these icons. So let me just show you how to add the Word RefWorks Citation Manager to Word, the tool that I just used. Okay, so what you do is you create a new document. I'm trying to do it the shortcut way, and there it worked. Okay, so I already have it, obviously, but let's pretend I don't. So I'm going to click Insert, and then Get Add-ins, and then I'm going to search for RefWorks. And then there it is, and then I click Add, and then I click Continue. But I'm not going to click Continue because I already have it. But that's how you do it. So it's like any add-ins that you bring into Word. You search for it either in the add-ins or the store, depending on what version of Word you have. It will be add-ins or store. Okay, so what about Google Docs? So for Google Docs, you should be in RefWorks itself, and you go to your Tools menu and click Tools again. And then it's a little clunky, but it's here. You click on Google Docs, and then get the add-on, and then install. I'm not going to click Continue because I don't want to install it at this point. But that's what you would do. You install it. Okay, so if there are no further questions, then it's a pleasure speaking to you. And if you want it, you can follow up with me, or as always, you could click on the homepage of the library. You can just click Ask Us and chat or email You could schedule a research consultation if you want to go over something specific with me. You could do that, or you could go over with anybody else. Okay,
Okay, thank you so much.
no problem.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
Bye-bye.
So long. Bye-bye.